Welcome to another episode of r/today I did an oopsie, Tifu by scratching my back. The following events actually happened today. For the last year or so, I have been diligently growing this little bump on my back. Call it a wart, a cyst, whatever, right between my shoulder blades, just a little left of my spine, and right on the threshold of the can't reach it without a friend zone. It's nothing to worry about, I swear. Just last night, after a shower, my girlfriend was giving me the "Ole, you should really see a doctor, yada yada, I want you to be healthy, yada yada" spiel. I just told her, in my best Schwarzenegger, it's not a tumor, and it most certainly is not. It's just this weird little bump under my skin. No bigger than a marble, or a walnut if you're using the metric system. It doesn't hurt or anything. I've actually grown quite fond of it. Until today, I was at work, awaiting my co-worker to relieve me from my shift around 5 o'clock. He shows up, I'm shooting the shit with him, and casually scratching my own back. Try to imagine this as appearing casual. Right as my co-worker is telling me about his weekend plans, I feel my back buddy TM gurgle beneath my fingers and change in shape. I remove my hand from my work shirt and see what appears to be a small amount of mashed potatoes smeared across my fingertips. Curiosity and mild confusion mingle upon my face until the stench hits. Suddenly my co-worker's weekend plans to visit his long-lost blah 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 didn't seem so intriguing once I experienced the smell of death itself. Perhaps you have never smelled the distinct odor of pus. I imagine war veterans are familiar with the harrowing scent. I, for one, have never smelled something so vile or corrosive. God, I can get a whiff of it right now as I type. It smells worse than your high school bully's diarrhea. It is the smell of hatred and doom. That smell is pure evil. Immediately, I bolt for the bathroom. Alarm bells going in my head and I'm thinking, IT is happening. I reach the public bathroom door, lock it shut, thank God for singular restrooms, and stand in front of the mirror before I pull my shirt off over my head. My back, fortunately, does not resemble a crime scene like I'd expected. I decide to be a gross human being and squeeze my back knob to see what happens. It changes in shape, feels like some air bubbles are being released, and I wipe my back clean with some paper towels. By now the bathroom smells like, not my problem, it's the end of my shift. I pull my shirt on, leave the bathroom, clock out, and head home. Driving home was peaceful enough, with the windows down of course. I was careful not to deface the delicate upholstery of my vehicle with my bodily excretions. Upon arriving home, I disrobe immediately inside the front door, shirt off, pants down, leave the socks, walk to the bathroom, look in the mirror, game face. I squeeze the itty bitty protuberance with as much might as I can muster at this angle behind my back. Pus confetti, ribbons of pus, stream all over my bathroom, the wall, the mirror, the ducking ceiling. My eyes are watering, my jaw is clenched, everything is clenched. The bump is literally making tiny squeaking sounds as I squeeze it mightily. It may have been screams. I'm not kidding. I'm salivating like a hungry animal who digs the pain for some reason. The smell is offending my ancestors, and at this point I'm fairly certain my girlfriend is going to leave me once she smells this biological catastrophe. I jump into the hottest shower I have ever taken. I need to grieve. My relationship is dead. For certain. My back buddy TM is vanquished. I don't really know what to do. Upon exiting the shower, I see I have a text waiting from me on my phone. It's from my boss. This is embarrassing. But PLZ explained to me what happened in the company restroom before you left today. Customers have complained about the smell. Too long didn't read accidentally ruptured a cyst on my back. Made pus spaghetti all over my workplace bathroom walls and got called out. Forever haunted by the mere stench. Edit. Still waiting for the girlfriend to come home. The smell lingers like a ghost and seems to follow me around the house. No matter how many candles I've lit. Maybe it's in my nose forever. Dear God. Edit 2. I still don't know what to tell my boss. Do I deny it was me? Do I explain myself? God, he must be imagining the absolute worst. Am I going to lose my job? Holy shit. Edit 3. Still have my job. Hallelujah. I feigned ignorance to my boss and then snuck a bottle of industrial bleach and a box of gloves into the restroom first thing the next morning. Bada bing bada boom. What bodily fluids? To clarify, I was not initially aware I had left a mess in a public place. I would never intentionally expose innocent people to my bodily sin. Don't be ridiculous. My duck up resides in these simple factors. 1. It was the end of my shift and I was rushing to leave. 2. I was probably in a state of mild shock tbh. And 3. I never would have thought to check for back shrapnel on the opposite wall of the restroom. In fact, I wasn't even aware I was capable of that featuring until I destroyed our nice bathroom at home. Speaking of which, my girlfriend still loves me. She's thoroughly disturbed by the way I anonymously read my own post to her, as if this shit didn't go down right in her nice clean bathroom. But she quickly caught on and had a good laugh. Turns out she still has that gag reflex after all. Edit 4. Apparently some of you are concerned about the timeline of this event. r/Tifu has rules about submitting posts involving bodily emissions during the week, so I resubmitted over the weekend. Simple copy paste jobby, my bad. Edit 5. And another thing. I'm aware this was a gross story. Yes, OP is disgusting. Thank you. But if I can't make some of you internet duckers lose your appetites, then what can I do? You're welcome. You're going to be okay. First, explain to your boss that you had a medical emergency. If he continues to press you for an answer, explain that you had an infection that ruptured. Don't mention puss or anything gross. Try to keep it sounding as medical as possible. WebMD that shit if you need to come up with a way to describe it. Secondly, if your girl loves you, she's just gonna laugh her ass off at you. It's embarrassing, but you'll be able to, eventually, look back at this and laugh. Who knows? Maybe your relationship will grow from this traumatic experience. Thirdly, I'm no doctor, but I do watch a lot of Dr. Pimpler Papa. You probably want to have that checked out if it smelled that bad. They may need to properly remove parts of it so it doesn't grow back again. Take a moment, breathe, and then go clean up the mess. I would use gloves, but that's just me. Feel better and have a laugh about it tomorrow. You didn't at least wipe it off? Come on dude. That's cover your ass 101. But at least he's marked his territory. That's his restroom now. Tifu by performing the Major Tom technique, and now I think I'm going to be disowned. If you aren't familiar with the Major Tom, it's because it's a thing I, hopefully, came up with. It's a form of autoerotic asphyxiation by using gravity. Basically, you jack off normally, but before you nut, you squat down as low as you can to the ground and breathe short shallow breaths while still whacking it. This part is called getting in the shuttle. As you nut, you jump up from that squatting position as fast as you possibly ducking can and hold your breath. This is considered takeoff. If performed correctly, you should become very lightheaded and experience pure bliss due to the orgasm from your coke rocket. This is called being in space due to the fact you feel like you're floating. This is a technique that should be performed only by professionals, in a controlled environment. I, however, am not a professional despite creating the technique. You see, by hyperventilating and jumping up, you are literally cutting your brain off from oxygen. No oxygen equals no consciousness. When I took off, I ducking jumped up at Mach 50 and must have ripped a ducking hole in the goddamn space-time continuum. Because the next thing I know, I was laying on the ground with my dong out, covered in space juices from my trip around the sun. Before I could even pick myself up off the ground, my mom rushed into my room to see if I was okay. She heard my re-entry. This part is called disappointing your mother. You can just imagine the scene she walked into. She stared at me with a mix of disgust, anger, and again, disappointment. I stared back with what I thought was confidence, like I was Buzz Aldrin and just got back from the moon. But thinking back on it, it was probably embarrassment while I was desperately trying to put my space plane back in the hangar while getting on my feet as quickly as possible. And due to the fact she's never caught me before, at least not to my knowledge, she ended up closing the door and stomping her way back to the living room. Presumably to watch more Judge Judy, and to take her mind off of what she just ducking witnessed, or considered disowning me. I cleaned myself up, taking off my spacesuit and putting civilian clothing on. Somehow none of the rocket fuel managed to get in the carpet, just my clothes, and I managed to not even injure myself in the crash. I'm currently writing this in my room right now, and I don't plan on leaving it anytime soon until I can think of what to say to her, if there is anything to say at all. Too long didn't read. Tried a new experimental masturbatory technique. Ended up passing out. Mum caught me with my pants down. And now I'm stuck in my room. Planet Earth is blue and there's nothing I can do. Edit. Only do this if you have a safe place to land if you fall. It is extremely easy to hit your head and die. Edit 2. I posted an update. You can read it here. Congratulations you/Limas. This post has been voted by our community as the Duck Up of the Month for June 2019. As a reward, you've been given gold, special flair, and a permanent entry into our master list of best Duck Ups. Tifu by forgetting how being paralyzed works. Didn't happen today, do they ever? It was actually about 5-6 years ago. So for context, I'm a paraplegic. My legs put in their 2 weeks notice a while back and so I use a wheelchair and my arms to get around. I also, at the time of this story, drove a rather large truck. I was younger and stronger and too impatient for an automatic lift, so to get into the truck I would simply put one hand on the seat and one hand on the flat part of the door and just lift myself straight up. And then once I was up I'd hop on over into the seat. I had a doctor's appointment scheduled and I go and get everything checked out. Normal stuff. I've had the same doctor for years so I was on good terms with the nursing staff there as well and they were all very friendly. At one point I dropped my shoe once I was in the truck and had to call and ask a nurse to come get it and we had a laugh. So I go to leave and head over to my truck and get ready to lift myself up. I put my hands down and lift myself into the air like the majestic eagle I am, and as I do I see a nurse leaving the building in front of me. Now here's where the hamster that powers the wheel in my brain took a lunch break, I guess. Because I smiled and, happy as can be, tried to wave back. Now I don't know much, but I have now learned that if there are only two things holding up your entire body, you should absolutely not remove one of those things. I barely got my hand off the door when, obviously, my body fell sideways and slammed my cheekbone right into the corner of the door that previously had my hand. That blow somehow, by whatever divine intervention, knocked me back into my chair but also kept enough momentum to then throw my head into the side of the truck and smack it one more time. After that I just sat there staring into the sky wondering how I even got my license in the first place. Too long didn't read. I forgot I was using my arms to hold myself and tried to wave, smacking my head twice on my truck. Bro, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.